7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, and welcome to the Marketing Essentials podcast. Our unique team helps small businesses grow by providing essential marketing expertise.
Hello and welcome to the Marketing Essentials podcast. My name is Bill with W Parmentier Photography.
I'm Justin of Justin Kerr Design.
And I'm Alicia with the Spark Social.
And together we make up
The Marketing Essentials team.
So today we're going to be talking about SEO. Whoa.
Yeah,
Easy for
SEOs.
me to say. SEOs.
I think it's a new kind of Cheerios, right? SEOs?
Yeah, SEOs,
Ooh,
yeah.
Sounds yummy.
It's probably more exciting than the topic we're talking about today.
I think a lot of people think they know what SEO is, but just so we have a level playing field here, why don't we go ahead and define it right up front?
Yep.
It's that magic that happens behind the scenes in Google
Oh,
and your search engines.
okay.
It's actually a good way of explaining it.
It really is. It's all kidding aside, nobody knows exactly how Google's search engine works as far as the
The math that
math
runs
behind
it,
it, yeah. But the reality is SEO is called search engine optimization.
And it applies to more than just Google, but,
But yeah,
Google
we
is the
think
main
of
player.
Yeah, I mean SEO works whether you're dealing with Bing or you're dealing with what's the new one, DuckDuckGo or something like that. Is one of the
Yeah,
new
but there's a couple of them out there like Dogpile that just take all the other search engines and they aggregate the
together,
results.
yeah. But anyway, reality is in the end it's still search engine.
Google is the big player on the block.
Pretty much, yeah.
I guess the best way to look at this is, when you're doing like an Instagram post and you do hashtags,
Yes.
it's really not that far off from what you're going to be doing with SEO.
Yeah, it's a way of optimizing your content.
Correct.
So that Google can see it.
Yes. So basically, most people, when they think of SEO, those who have done anything with SEO, think on a global scale for a website. Now, SEO for a website versus SEO for imagery is a slightly different tact you're going to take. SEO for websites is typically alt tags, which will tell you a descriptor of a specific tab on a website or a specific section of a website. Whereas with images, they use alt text or alt attributes.
Yeah, alt standing for.
Alternate.
Okay.
Alternative.
Okay.
Sorry, I forget sometimes we have to go down that deep, but yeah. So when you're looking at it from an image standpoint, which is what we're going to be talking about today, you want to think about it as if the easiest way to do it is, which is the original way that the reason these things came out for was for readers for
for ADA compliance.
ADA compliance,
for
yes.
people that are sight impaired.
So when you're doing SEO for an image, you should be thinking about, if you couldn't see the image, how would you describe it to somebody?
Right, it would have to be described for you with the screen reader.
Correct. Correct. And that's typically what they came out for in the first place, was for people that had sight disabilities, they were able to tell what image was on the screen.
And this was before Google.
Correct. Long before Google. But Google somehow managed to include that in their search engine optimization, whereas they take those photos and they use those same keywords so you can actually do a search on those keywords.
That makes sense because I feel like Google's always rewarding people who do more work on their website.
Correct. And the reality is, with Google, you search by words. And the reality is, the number one search engine out there is Google right now. What's the number two one?
I'm going to say
YouTube.
No,
Oh,
not
okay.
YouTube. No, that's not really a search engine, but yes, people do use YouTube
I think
more
it's
and
the
more.
number one second website.
It's probably the second
Something
website
like that.
visited. But as far as for searches, when people are doing for searches, obviously, I'm going to throw a bunch of names out there. You've got Bing, you've got, like I said,
Ask
DuckDuckGo,
Jeeves.
Ask, you've got Google.
No, I have no clue. I guess it'd be Bing.
Yeah. You would think so. You'd think there's enough big names out there as far as search engines, but actually Google owns the first two spots. One is Google, and then the second one is Google Images.
Oh.
So people actually do searches based on an image.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of think of Google Images as like the same because it's just the second tab on there, right?
Yeah, it's actually one of the tabs in once you've actually done a search. But you can actually type in I think it's google.images.
Oh, gotcha.
And you'll
My
actually-
favorite feature, actually, of Google image search is you have the ability to upload an image,
Reverse search.
Yeah, reverse
and you
search
can
it, yeah.
search by that image, which is, I've used that more than once.
Did you know Pinterest does that now too?
No, I didn't know that.
What you can do is, it's not quite the same thing, and I'm going to get off track for just a second, but there's a little icon in the bottom right-hand corner of every photo on Pinterest. If you click on that, you can make a square over, you can highlight a section of the photo, and it'll bring up
Yeah.
all the like images
Oh, wow.
that are similar to that. It's really
I've
cool.
seen that. That is pretty cool because if you like a certain, like say you're looking at a picture of a room and you like the rug, not the other stuff in the room, you can zoom in
Jump
on
on
the
the
rug.
rug, and then it'll pull you up all the pictures that have similar rugs.
It's pretty cool.
It's wild. First time I saw it, but anyway, that's another story. But
So images play an important part, though. I think is like what you're getting at, and more the way that people search
Absolutely,
for things.
absolutely. I've told this story before, but I've had people that have actually found one of my images through a Google image search, and then gone to my website.
For the photography business.
For my photography business, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah,
But I would say if
Not
if
your other
you're a
business.
business that has a portfolio of work like an interior designer, or if you have a product website, image search should be very, very
Absolutely.
important to you because people are going to find your site probably faster through an image search than they would through a typical front-end text search.
Okay, so now I'm going to get a little technical here for you for a minute to talk about how images come out of a camera. So when you
Polaroids.
well, yeah,
That's all I can think
okay,
of.
I'm talking in the digital age. Let's
Comes right out the front.
let's
And then
take
then you got to shake it.
Those are
Otherwise, it
coming
won't
back in
develop.
style.
For
The
those of you who
hipsters
don't
like
know,
them.
Justin is sitting here shaking his arm in the air. Like,
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
so anyway, oh man, if you guys could only see what
Justin's
Justin's
now
doing.
dancing in the corner.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Raising the roof.
He's not a very good dancer. No offense.
No,
Justin. I
no.
love you,
This is
brother,
why
but-
we're doing it on a podcast because nobody can see me.
Our intern just cringed.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
Video podcast.
I totally just lost my entire train of thought. Can somebody bring me
How
back?
do
on-
pictures come out of digital
Oh, thank you. That's what it
cameras?
was. Yes. So obviously, out of a digital camera is different than Polaroids, like what you're talking about. But
Right.
when you take a raw image, and what I mean by a raw image is one that it can be shot as a JPEG, it can be shot as a truly raw image, and that's a different story for us photographers. But when it comes out, your camera automatically gives it a name, and it's usually just a descriptor name. It's usually DSC underscore and then a number. And typically it'll just go numerically in order. Each time you take a picture, it'll add one more number to it. Now, if you were to take that photo and just put it on your website, just as you have it, Google could do absolutely nothing with it.
Right, because it has no meaning.
It has no meaning to Google. They have no idea what it is. There's probably millions and millions of photos out there that just say have that DSC descriptor. So now, if somebody's, say for instance, let's go back to the example you
Of
gave.
course, now
Justin.
I want to go to Google Images and
Just
search
type on
DSC
Should
and a
do that.
bunch of
We should-
numbers and see what comes up.
Pull it up on your phone, see
All
what's
right, I'll
happening.
do
But
that.
anyway, say for instance, let's take what you're talking about as far as a retailer. Let's take Amazon, for example, right? And they have a picture of a piece of stereo equipment, and it's got the DSC logo to it. Nobody's ever, or the DSC name for it. You can't do a search on DSC stereo, not unless it's in the image. But now, if you take that same image and you rename the image to stereo, and then you take your alt tags and say stereo, Pioneer, audio. Now, when somebody does a search for the stereo system, that photo is going to come up. So it's really giving that images more of a chance to show up in a Google image search. Now, how many of you guys have done a regular Google search, not an image search, but have
Never.
noticed that about 3 or 4 lines down, there's usually a section that's all photos that says Google Images. And you can
Yeah.
actually click on that and go and see the Google Images. Now, you can take that a step further. You find the image you like, whatever it happens to be. Let's take that hypothetical stereo again. Now you click on the stereo, then you're going to have the option to go to the website that photo is from.
Okay.
So now you've just brought that potential buyer back to your website, all through keyword searches on that image.
So what you're saying is businesses should really pay attention to this because there's a chance to bring traffic
Yes.
and new customers to your website.
Big customers, big companies do that. Obviously Amazon, they know that they have to be posting with the proper keywords because that's how people do their searches. You hire somebody like a web designer or even somebody like me who can help you to do that. Yes, I'm going to help you to get shown up on the searches. But most people that just building a website on their own and throwing images up, they don't think about the fact, hey, what do I need to put in there to describe it?
Now, what if you have stock photography on your website, or because you said product and like portfolios are really big, but I'm a service-based industry, so if I'm using any type of stock photography.
This is where it gets real tricky.
Okay.
Stock photography is some of the worst photography to use if you're trying to do SEO searches.
Okay.
Because while you could still rename and retag that piece of stock photography when you put it on a website, it's still going to show up amongst a bunch of other images that are the exact same image, and people are going to be confused. So the reality is when you're doing SEO for imagery, you really should be doing it on custom images.
And it should be accurate. Like you can't.
No, you don't want to fool it because you can get knocked out just as easily.
So like if it's a dog, you should probably say it's dog, not like a unicorn or something.
Well, here's the other problem. Think about this from this end. Say, for instance, I'm an automotive place, right? And I have a picture of a Mustang. And I mark that cute baby, right?
Maybe it is cute.
It might be somebody's baby.
Some
and it might
people
be
call
cute.
it, yeah, exactly.
But maybe that's the wrong example to
My
use.
cute baby.
But cute baby. But now if I do a search for that, and
I'm Googling that now.
what, cute baby?
Yeah, just to see what comes
Oh
up.
my gosh.
But the reality is people are going to be deceived. And now you've just ticked off somebody who's trying to look for something.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen on that end?
Well, Google's going to see that your result isn't yielding any clicks, and therefore that photo is going to start to rank lower for that search.
Correct. And in turn, it can lower the overall SEO rate of your website
Gotcha.
because
Yeah.
it's connected. Sorry, go Justin.
I Googled cute baby, and there's a lot of cute babies here.
Did you find any cars in there?
On Google Image Search. No, I did not find any cars. There's just a lot of cute babies. But what's interesting is the top results for a lot of these are stock photography sites. So
Yes.
Shutterstock, FlickArt, but there's also like YouTube and, Amazon, for product images.
Yes.
So, it depends on what you're looking for, but a lot of these are big companies. So they've obviously spent a lot of time optimizing their images so that when you Google something as generic as cute baby, they're in the top 10, they're in the top 20.
And most of us are not going to be able to compete against that. Let's be honest.
Right.
Anybody that tells you that I can get you top ranked on cute baby, guess what? You're probably
It's
not going to
gonna
happen.
Yeah.
So that's where it becomes important to find descriptors that are much like what you do in social media or you would do in regular website work. Find descriptors that are unique, but still something that somebody would search for.
And what you want to be found for, because
Yes.
I don't know why you would want to be found for cute babies. You're not selling cute babies, but you might be selling cute baby clothes.
Correct.
That's more relevant.
Exactly.
Hopefully you're not selling cute babies.
But like I said,
Sketchy.
now let's take this first a step further. Okay, you just asked about stock imagery, right? Say, for instance, I said customer service as a suggested image search.
Probably going to get a lot of stock.
You're going to get a ton of stock,
Right.
And you do me a favor, Justin. Pull it up for a second.
What?
Just type in customer service on Google Images.
Customer
You
service?
screenshot that so we can add
Yeah,
it
we'll
as well.
screenshot it afterwards. But
Okay.
I guarantee you're probably going to, and I haven't done this search, so I'm guessing. This is a guess. You're going to find a picture of at least one person with a headset on.
Yeah, that same guy that's on everybody's website. He works
Was
a
that
lot
right?
of places.
Was that right?
Oh,
I was.
look at
Headset.
that
There it
lady.
is, two. Okay, see the one up in the upper right-hand corner? Do a screenshot of that. And you want to know why that is? She is the most recognizable stock image. Her face is the most. There's actually an article on it. I'll see if I can find it.
Oh, really?
She works at a lot of places.
No, she's just been in the most. Well, yeah,
kidding.
as a stock image, she does. Her face is the most recognizable face in stock imagery.
She's like the J-Lo of stock imagery.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
She is actually used for all kinds of customer service things, but she's also been used for like beauty products and all kinds of other things. And her face is just one of the ones that comes up the most in stock imagery. The reason I mention that, she would probably, as a small business, Justin's iPad's talking to himself over here.
We just asked you to do a screenshot. You don't have to ask Siri, Justin.
Yes, Siri, please do a screenshot for me.
I'm so confused.
But anyway,
How do you do a screenshot on these new iPads?
Hold the button and I don't remember.
Oh,
I thought it was the top button and the volume up.
No, top button and your center button.
I don't have a center button.
Oh, you have the real new iPads. Why are we going on this? We were just way off.
I don't know. I was just trying to take a screenshot.
Anyway.
We'll get it later.
Anyway, I can get you a picture because I know who it is anyway, because there's actually an article on it. A company called it's not a company, I guess they're a company, but they're a media site called Petapixel, which gears towards the photography community. Actually did an article on her, about her being the most recognizable stock photo.
So if I was putting her on my website because I was really boring and had a boring website, but how would I name her?
Well, not only that, now if somebody looks, how original is that photo? If
I'm not going to use that, but for the sake of search engine optimization.
Well, like I said before, you can search it, you can add new keywords to it and change it a little bit. But the reality is when it does come up, it's going to come up with 1,600 other
So it's not really gonna do
websites
the
that
job.
have that same exact photo.
Yeah.
So remember that conversation or the part where I talked about earlier, where somebody found me by going through an Google image search?
Right.
They're not going to, if the same photo came up 4 different times for 4 different websites, now your chances is 1 in 25% that somebody's going to grab you. If it's a custom image, guess what? You're the only one that's got it. And if they like that image, they go want to see you.
Right, that's true. So do you remember what your search was that someone came through for?
I think mine was Rhode Island. I think I had Rhode Island drone, I think it was, or something like that.
Pretty cool.
So it was a drone photo. It was see, that's the other thing. Make it location specific if you're a local business too.
Now,
So your image should say, if it was shot in Rhode Island Pond. I don't know what give me something
Yeah.
that you'd be taking a photo of in the area.
like a shoe store or something,
Yeah,
right?
Rhode Island shoes. So that makes it more specific because people do search specifically. Like if you're looking for, you said a few minutes ago, you did a search for food. Did you do a search for just food in general, or did you say
Right, like
Providence
Chinese,
food or
Providence, Chinese food or something.
Yeah, because otherwise you might get somebody in California that's selling you Chinese food. What good is that going to do you? I don't think they deliver to Rhode Island, do they?
No, not even Grubhub.
It'd be a little cold at that point by the time I got here anyway. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be a little bit more specific about that. Okay, so I'm going to throw a little bit of trivia at you here. We're about halfway through, and I think this is a good breakup of the podcast.
Okay.
Can anybody tell me? I got to find it here. Give me 1 second to find my thing. Okay, Google is the innovator as far as image searches, right?
Okay.
So they're the ones that took that alt tag that I was talking to you about earlier, alt text, excuse me, and used that as a searchable item. Can either one of you tell me what it was that was the catalyst for that? There's actually a specific time frame something that happened that Google said, "Oh, we're onto something here," and they did this.
I saw your notes.
You
I
my
saw your notes.
So you both saw my notes.
I guess if we're going to quiz each other, we should probably
Not look at each other's notes.
Not put it in the notes. Yeah.
but it's really interesting.
Okay, so I'll just read it for you here. So I'll read it directly off my notes. It says, here's a fun fact for you. A green Versace dress worn by Jennifer Lopez at the Academy Awards, Grammy Awards, was the catalyst for Google innovating its image search. In an article written by Google's former executive chairman, who is Eric Schmidt, he said, at the time, Lopez's dress was the most popular search query we had ever seen. But we had no surefire way of getting users exactly what they wanted. J-Lo wearing that dress. Google image search was born. So basically what was happening in this case was people were looking for green dress, but also J-Lo's green dress.
Right.
Or J-Lo's green dress at the Grammy Awards. So if you don't have all those specific pieces in the image itself, people had no way of searching it.
Oh.
So that's what I mean by making sure your image searches are optimized.
I want to see that green dress now.
You can actually search it. I think it's still out there. So a couple things to keep in mind. Stock images aren't going to help your SEO.
Oh, that dress.
Now you remember, right?
We need to put this in the show notes.
Okay, let's
because
put
everybody will remember this dress.
Yeah, I don't remember. Did it say what year it
Oh,
was?
good Lord.
It's like 2010, maybe 12.
Yeah, it was like one of those barely there
like
dresses.
when she was dating like P. Diddy.
Yeah, I mean,
2000.
I think she put the dress on backwards.
Yeah, that may
It's
be
like-
true.
Dress is like a questionable statement. It's more like a sheer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
whatever.
throw it in the image search bill.
And on that note, J-Lo
Image
still
notes.
looks like she does in 2000, And that's insane.
Isn't it?
Because I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, oh, maybe it was like 5, 10 years ago.
No.
This is 19 years ago in Chilo. Yeah.
So that's how long image search technology has been out there.
Nice.
So that'll give you an idea of what you're dealing with. So like I said, stock images aren't going to help your SEO because obviously everybody's going to be searching them, and and you don't stand out in a crowd of a million. You know, like we talked about that picture of the most seen face in stock imagery. Mm-hmm. How many times are you going to pull that up on a search? Did you find the actual article I was talking about? You're just
I just the image.
The image. Gotcha.
But,
So number 2, use original images whenever possible. The more original your image, the better the odds of you ranking on relevant searches.
Great. That's great advice.
And then have a reason for your images. You touched on this a few minutes ago, Alicia. Images can increase your SEO, but if it's not relevant to the rest of the page, and Justin, you could probably talk to this for a second.
yeah, we've actually done this on podcasts before.
If it's not relevant, what are you going? What do you just do?
The image should reinforce what's on the page, the text that's on the page. So if it doesn't, you're just causing confusion and distraction.
Mm-hmm. And you're probably going to lose that person that's viewing the website because they're going to be like, I don't understand this, and just move on.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when they, especially for long form content, they skim. They look at the headline, they look at the subheadlines, they look at the images, and if those are relevant, then they'll dig into the content itself. Mm-hmm. So everything needs to work together. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, now you're just confusing your reader.
Okay, I do have to make a clarification here that I probably didn't make earlier. Alt text and captions are 2 different things.
It's a good thing to point out.
Yes.
So the caption goes on the website.
Typically, when you're putting a image up onto the website, the caption is usually some sort of descriptor about what they're looking at. And alt text is more those specific words that match up, that helps the reader to find that photo. Mm-hmm. So both work for your SEO, but one works primarily for image search, where the other one will work in the whole of your website.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And obviously, I talked about make the image, the name of the image make sense to what it is.
So you can't trick Google.
You wouldn't want to for very long.
Don't try and outsmart Google, because they will.
Even if you did, you're still tricking your customers too.
Yeah. They will punish you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about SEO, but I think the general rule of thumb is if you're trying to trick Google, you're going to
lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like trying to beat the house in the casino. You're not going to win.
Right. Play by the rules, people.
I've known some very unscrupulous people in my time who build themselves as SEO experts, and they've tried to game the system, and they've tried to fool Google with all kinds of little tricks, and they end up actually hurting their customers because it actually works in the opposite direction.
Yeah, short term you'll get results.
Right, but in long term, your rankings will actually tank.
Correct.
And Google it's not just over time too. Google can blacklist you like immediately, like with the click of a button. So if they feel that your website is very deceptive, they can literally blacklist you.
You'll get knocked further down,
Yeah.
The other thing to bear in mind also is don't expect this to be a quick fix. Google, like anything else, works very slowly. So anytime you change a piece of your website, the text on an image, it takes Google, I think, close to a month in some cases to recrawl the site and pull it back up.
It does work on a cycle as far as indexing
Nobody knows
content.
exactly what that time frame is.
But the SEO people that I've talked to said that, if you're optimizing your website for SEO, both for text and images, give it 3 or 4 months before you start, looking at the rankings, because it does take a while. So it's a long game.
Yeah.
It's not a short game, it's a long game. But it's definitely something that's going to help you over the long term.
Sure. And the other thing to bear in mind is you kind of need to do both in tandem. You want to optimize your images, but you need to make sure your website's also optimized, because Google is looking at both of those. And if one of those is off, they give a heavier weight to the keywords on the website itself over the images.
Okay.
But if you have well texted images and your website's pretty much crap as far as SEO, you're out of luck.
Okay. Good to know.
Because people, it's still going to rank lower in the searches.
So if someone wanted to do this, if their website was in good health with their content and they wanted to name their pictures, how would they get started doing that, Bill?
Well, you can do a Google keyword search.
Okay.
Much like you would do with any other website or anything like that, you can still use those same type of descriptive keywords. The key is just making sure they match.
Okay.
Match up with the imagery.
So use Google keyword tool.
Yeah,
And
but
go back
don't,
through. And,
again, just like Justin said, don't make up, don't, just because a keyword's trending and it seems like it's going to be a good fit, and if it doesn't describe what's in the photo, don't
do
put it.
And how long should your description be? Do you know?
They tell you to try to keep it under, if I have the list here, hang on one second, I was pretty sure I had that number there. Let's say for the keywords, it was like under 10 keywords, I think, if I remember, per image, but don't hold me to that.
Okay.
I'll put that in the notes. I'll put a thing in the actual notes about it.
Okay.
Here it is. I'm sorry. It was 100 characters.
100 characters. Okay.
Alt attributes are short descriptions of 100 characters or less that the website will assign to that image.
And so, just to be clear, you should simply name the picture that before you upload it.
Yes, but also when you're putting it onto the website, a lot of the website, I'm assuming WordPress does the same thing when you're putting it in, allows you to actually put alt keywords in too.
Okay.
So one is the caption, one is the alt keywords you want to
So
put in.
duplicate that.
To an extent, the caption is going to be more of a descriptive. It could be house in the woods, Whereas with the tags, you're going to use individual words like house, woods. You don't have to put all those filler words.
Excellent.
I think Justin just went down the rabbit hole of Google Images.
We lost him, yeah.
Why don't you share with us where you're at here?
Yeah, there's just a lot of bad stock photography out there.
And now you know why I'm such a fan of it.
Yeah. Well, you and I have talked about this before, that I'm an advocate, of course, for custom photography.
And some people can't afford it, I get it.
Budgets are not always there. But outside of that, I'm an advocate for quality stock photography.
Big difference, yeah.
And there's a big difference between that and just...
Because there's a lot of crap out there, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, there is. And, the image has to work. It has to work for your content.
And I think the biggest thing that I struggle with, and I understand there's HIPAA laws and all kinds of things, but when you start using images of people to represent one of your employees as a stock image, to me that feels almost disingenuous, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't... That's not something I'd recommend.
But again, we just talked a few minutes ago about customer service and the generic customer service image, Put call center in, see what you get. I guarantee you'll get the same thing.
Same girl, yeah.
You'll probably get the same girl, and you'll probably get 100 different headsets. Because apparently headsets means customer service. I'm not sure why, but, because I think it's so closely related with call centers. But so, any questions? Where are we at as far as this? Was that right? Headsets?
Nothing but headsets.
Headsets as far as the eye can see. And look, how many of the same girl? I can see two at least there.
Oh, yeah, no, there's...
Of the same exact woman.
Two of the same, yeah.
Different photos, but the same person.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just looking for the woman that came up when we did the previous search, but, oh, yeah. We've got some hipster headsets. Got a guy in a little beard and hipster haircut.
Well, yeah, you're going to have the guy,
This headset did not ruin any man buttons.
I think with that, we should sum up.
Oh, my gosh.
So, in summary, make sure you're using your alt attributes or alt text for each one of your images that goes onto your website. That's going to make sure that you're in the best place once you have your SEO set up for the rest of your website to be easily searchable by the major major search engines, And also, like I said, if somebody happens to come across your image just on a regular search, it will help more easily bring them back to your website, which is obviously what everybody wants with the whole search engine easy for me to say. For the
Search
whole
engine
search
optimization.
engine optimization.
That's why we say SEO.
That's why we say COs. Anyway, I think that's it for today, unless you guys have any other questions that I might have missed.
No, I think these are all great tips, Bill, and highlights the importance of not neglecting optimizing the images on your website in addition to optimizing the other content.
And if you are looking at a designer or looking at somebody to build a website for you, don't be afraid to ask them about it, because that's a good indicator of how good of a designer they are. Do they even know anything about keywords and stuff like that? How are they going to help you with that?
Right, because it's one thing to build a website, but if you don't optimize it,
How are they going to find you?
Yeah, it's like having a house without an address, no one can find you.
Yep. So that's all I got for today.
All right, thanks, Bill.
No problem.
And we're going to wrap things up here on the Marketing Essentials podcast. So until next time,
See ya.
bye.
Old MacDonald had a picture, SEO.
Thank you for joining us today. And as always, you can find the back episodes of our podcast on Apple Podcasts. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel. Both of them are the Marketing Essentials team.
You can find us on the web at marketingessentialsteam.com. And if you subscribe through our website, you'll receive a weekly email and letting you know when each episode has been published. Also, you'll receive a link to subscriber-only content.
You can also find us on Facebook in our private Facebook group. Just search Little Roadie Marketing Support Group. It's a great place for other marketing professionals and business owners where we can share marketing advice, challenges, and general trends. Hope to see you there.